Howdy out there. This is Ed Doherty, the CNC Dude from Suncoast Technical College in sunny Sarasota, Florida. It's February 2024. I'm going over, I just got a little note, my script here, recruiting and manufacturing. And I've been kind of bumping in for many years now the problem with recruiting and manufacturing and trying to figure out a lot of problems we're having. Anyway, this is a video of our team in the Clash of Trades Season 2, the $100,000 contest that was run by Project MFG. And we met a great guy, Andrew Crowe, in the round before this. We start off here with, I'll just let this run in the background. We met a lot of great people. There's Andrew right there. Let me back up a little bit. Right there. Andrew is a cool guy. I met him. We had a nice talk at SWIC behind the scenes. I think it was recorded, but I don't know whatever happened to it. But I thought we had a really good conversation and really connected. And, of course, he was one of the judges at this Clash of Trades in Wichita, Kansas. So we've stayed in contact for quite a while. And now he's doing a national tour to raise MFG awareness to many, many people. A lot of different groups, a lot of different areas. He's a really great speaker and understands what we're all going through. And another fellow I have here, Greg Serio, I met him up in Clearwater. He's got a YouTube channel called The People of Manufacturing, and he came up with some funny things like the FNG guy and cold brew conversations, which I was interviewed in once. But he's a really good guy and also involved in trying to help out people to get good jobs, especially that maybe had a little trouble in their past, stuff like that, and young kids, you know. So, and I would talk maybe at some point have a get-together, a little podcast with the three of us to discuss issues. And I also saw Andrew was in podcast Making Chips on 3 episodes here. Manufacturing Fuels Grit with Drew Crowe and Andrew Mueller. But there's a couple episodes here. I've listened to 2 of them. I need to catch up on that. And, of course, Drew's been out there. You probably see him a lot on other social media, and I think he's in Anaheim, California this week. Anyway, what to talk about here? Let me get up my sheet here. Recruiting and manufacturing. Okay, I'm starting my 11th year as a machining instructor at Suncoast Tech. Little history on me. I came from the Boston, Massachusetts area. I did not learn this trade in high school. I was supposed to go to college, and I never did. And I never took my SAT exams, and I got like factory, like a warehouse forklift driver, and then I worked in an auto parts store. That was my career path. And then I bumped into somebody that told me to go to this 6-month tech school to learn to be a machinist, which I did at about age 25, 26. And ever since then, I've been a machinist, and I didn't realize I had these skills, and it's been a rewarding career, you know. And I've been doing this for quite a long time, and eventually I bumped into somebody that steered me to becoming a teacher. So I've been a teacher for a while also, which I've met a lot of people in our local area to get people hired. I've had a lot of students come through our program. I meet a lot of teachers in other areas when I go to my national conferences or regionals, and any kind of like opportunity I have to get involved and learn more, or even if in the beginning I needed help and now I'm able to help others. So recruiting and manufacturing, I made some bullet points here, and one would be, let's see, why don't we get big screen in here? Big screen. Let's see. Full face. There I am. All right, let me go back to my script. The problem in our course is actually called Machining Technologies, or Learning to Become a Machinist. And it's funny, I would just randomly ask people what a machinist is, and pretty much nobody knows what that is. Everybody knows what a plumber is, or a carpenter, or an electrician, or a auto mechanic or hairdresser. But machinist has kind of fallen off the map as far as a common job title. It used to be very popular, like before, like World War II, but now it's kind of fallen off. And it's become a job skill that's kind of, if you just say machinist, it's kind of narrow. And if you just talk about the manufacturing world or how things are made, or if you watch that TV show, How It's Made, there's a lot of different jobs in those areas. So the job titles are not really clear or well known. So you get many different titles. I'm just throwing a few out here, like manufacturing technician, a CNC or a CAD/CAM programmer, and machinist. A lot of people wouldn't even know what half of these things even are. Job duties is another one. Many different job duties or paths once you get into manufacturing. You may end up like starting off as a machinist and end up going into welding or doing like a high-level assembly, like a race car engine assembly. You might end up in machinery repair. The 3D printing craze is really starting to get big, and it's eventually going to be 3D metal printing. They're actually starting to print spinal components now that they put in people. So all this in manufacturing is just evolving into a wide open, many opportunities to continue to learn. I think when you're just talking to somebody about the career, it's hard to describe. That's my point number 3. It's better if it's demonstrated. Sometimes you can show a video of it, but I think if you go live into a shop or a manufacturing environment, you can get a better idea of what's going on. I think the days of the dirty job, like if you watch that Mike Rowe series, Dirty Jobs, I think that has really kind of gone away. It's not really about being a dirty job. People just don't know what it is. So if you go into a place and you see it's like a high-tech area, the air conditioning is really nice, indoors, like in Florida, being outdoors in the summer would be very hot and humid, where you'd be indoors and nice and air conditioned. There's a lot of good opportunities there. And it'd be also good if we did like a participation thing, if somebody just tried it and see what they liked, if they like to make things. You can do it as like a boot camp, or even if you're in your local school and you decide you have an elective and you say, oh, let me go try this. I don't know anything about it. Let me go try it. So we get job titles are difficult, job duties, like what are you supposed to do? Where's your path? What do we do is hard to describe. And another one would be pay rate, but that really applies to all skilled trades now, keeping up on pay. Another one, pay may not be the number one issue, as I think job satisfaction may be a little bit more important. If you feel proud of what you do, if you actually make things that you could see in your hands, like if you worked on a house, you say, oh, I helped build that house. If you were making components, like my last job was at Lockheed Martin in Orlando, and we used to make components for military and defense. And if those guys were over there using the best equipment, they'll come home safe, things like that. There's some positive benefit to it. And the number 5 thing I'm going to talk about is career path. Need to show where you may go. Is it just a job? If I was at Taco Bell, let's say, I start off at Taco Bell, I'm at the window. Where do I go from there? Do I going to end up at the counter? Do I end up cooking? Do I end up being the manager? And then what? Where do I go from there? But I think in our manufacturing careers, we got to kind of show the path of where you can go. You keep on upskilling, learning more. You become actually more valuable the more you learn. And you may be into some kind of, like I was a group leader at one time, and I did do managing for a while. And another one would be it's possible to continue on to college, like into mechanical engineering. I had an opportunity at one company, Rockwell Automation, and they would pay for my college education as long as I wasn't going to be a cook. I had to do something related to what they wanted, and as long as I got good grades. So I started to do that for a while, but I kind of stopped doing that because I had a good job anyway, but it was just something I explored, and I didn't realize that not a lot of people know about that you can get a job in manufacturing. If you thought you wanted to go to college, you may end up with a company that'll actually fund your college path. So that's another one. Need to show how many jobs are available, in your local area and everywhere in the country. Right now, we pretty much tell everybody that comes to our class that you're going to get at least 3 to 5 job offers before the end of the year. That's how much in demand you are. There are companies actually hiring people with no experience, and they're looking for, actually, not that they don't want people with no experience. They really want people with experience, but they just need people, And another one, another point on the career path is just because you may have had, you didn't finish high school or you might have had a little trouble in your past, doesn't really necessarily mean that's a negative, As long as you can show up, do the job, be a good, team player and stuff like that, that's all they really care about. Once they can see that they can depend on you, then they're going to actually depend on you and then ask you to do more and pay you more and give you more responsibilities, and that's all they need to know. So anyway, I was actually at an open house the other night, and I was explaining I actually had a machine. It was a desktop machine. We had it manufacturing something. I thought that made a big difference because people saw something that was moving around. It gave them an opportunity to come over and just watch it for a while. And then we would start the conversation. When we just had pictures of things, it didn't really have the same effect. So I think some kind of lively demonstration would be, even if you were a company looking for people. I know they still have National Manufacturing Day, and the whole point was to get people to come in the companies. But I'm not sure how well that does really work because you get people and you want them. You just say, "Come on in," or take a bus ride, and if you can navigate all that. I think we've tried it as far as getting schools to organize buses and bring the kids, like middle school and high school kids, around to about 3 companies to see live what they do. And we also had them come through our tech school to show where you would get the training for that. I thought that was a good idea of how to do that. I was having a hard time explaining to one of my school administrators because we ended up with a lot of welding equipment. Now, technically, our course does not teach welding, but welding is part of manufacturing. And as all the jobs in manufacturing go, welding is probably the only one that people understand, like plumber. Everybody knows what a welder is. So, and we all need welding jobs. And there's some jobs that are not dedicated welders. It's just part of manufacturing. So if you had a company, I worked at a company in Sarasota, and we were building and manufacturing custom motorcycle parts. And some of the stuff was welding. And we had a difficult time getting welding done because we either had to send it out to somebody or we'd have to hire somebody. But sometimes we didn't have enough work for full time. So it was really difficult. And we used to talk about how it would be nice if one of us knew how to weld. Then he could do welding and machining. So I don't think necessarily has to be so narrow that it has to be just a CNC machinist who works on milling machines but not lathes, or a CAD/CAM programmer that only programs but doesn't know how to machine, or somebody that can do machining and welding. So the more skills you have, I think the more value you have. So we try to explain that to the administrator that now we have welding. We should just add that into the machining course as an introduction to welding. You know. So try to explain that to administrators, and also try to explain to local government why we need help in these areas. The Manufacturing Association is pretty good. Our Manufacturing Association has been out there trying to help. They always say that their problem is getting companies to get out there and beat the drum also. I would agree with that they need to get out there and either go to fairs or set up like job fairs and get out there and get the recruiting going, get the talk going about it. Another problem explaining is to parents, like what kind of career is this? Is it a good job? Now at one time, with the big push for years was going to college. If you didn't go to college, then you were going to be working at Burger King, but not necessarily. So I think ours is a legitimate path if you decide you didn't want to go to college, but you wanted to continue to learn. That coming to a technical school or 2-year certificate school in a specific trades is a great idea. And the same thing goes to students. It's sometimes the problem explaining it to students what we do. So we try to encourage the come on in and try it, idea. And I think we want to try to start having more summer camps and have people make something. And not necessarily just students. And my last problem explaining category I'm going to put to people who want to move up. And I just put here from a Walmart job. But, you understand. People that are working like in a service industry or working at a department store. And you're like, I need something more. And maybe we can start training them at night school so they can come at night and upskill themselves. And that would actually apply for even our own industry, that as people get into the manufacturing industry, that they probably need to come back and do some more training for upskilling so they can make themselves more valuable. Because you hope that your company would help you learn more. But sometimes they have, they have things to do, and their path may be very directed on what they're trying to do, and you may want to learn more, but that company really doesn't do like other things. So if you come out and learn more in a school, at night school, and say down the road you had an opportunity and you actually learned something else, you might be able to move yourself up. So that's what I wanted to probably get together with Drew and Greg and sit down and have a conversation about this and about how we can upskill. The Making Chips crowd is pretty good. There's a couple other, what's this one called? Within Tolerance, and a bunch of guys I follow on other podcasts in the metalworking industries. But we just want to try to see if we can find a way to get the word out because the jobs are there. They're there and waiting. We just need to fill them. There was even the talk about automation, and automation, all it's really doing is taking away the boring jobs. And now we're going to need people that know how to fix robots and program robots in the CNC world. We're starting to add robotic loading, and that's just something else we got to learn. So that's good. That's good for if you're in demand and need. You come to a company and say, "Oh, we think you're going to robots. Do you know anything about them?" He goes, "Yeah, we had this other. Oh, we're gonna hire you. you know something we need." So anyway, I just thought I'd talk about that. I'm coming up to my 20-minute mark, so I think if we can get together and talk about that would be great. So I'm just gonna sign off. The CNC Dude signing off from Sarasota, which is near Tampa Bay. Okay, see you later.